Okay, guys, it's finally time. DDD, the deck profile updated. Just had to kind of do that. Okay, in all seriousness though, this is basically my current build. It's from what I've been testing at. Is there any way I can turn down the music in the background? I don't know. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. It's like blaring in my ear. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What's important is if you guys can hear me, which I hope so. I'm testing a new mic. So, yeah. Anyways, this is my basic deck profile. Excuse me. It is not really all that different from my previous build. I got my 3 Galilei, 3 Death Lord, 1 Kaiser. You only need one of them. Drawing into more of them kind of sucks. 3 Leonidas, he's mandatory. 3 Cerberus, 3 Lilith, 3 Night Howling, and 3 Kepler. They're 1-for-1, Dark Hole, 2 MST, triple Covenant with the Infernal Gate, double Swamp King, 2 Mirror Force. It's up to you if you want to play Mirror Force or Supply Squad. It all depends on your own play style. You can also play anything else. I just needed 2 spaces in the deck, and I don't like DD Recruit. In fact, you'll see that I dropped it entirely. 2 Loose Laundering, 2 DDD Resource Management, 2 Covenant with the Dark Witch, 1 Ragna Zero, 3 Caesar, 1 Karn Gorgon, 1 Master Key, 1 Dark Rebellion, Exceed Dragon. This is just my personal preference. It's either him or 101 if you want. 3 Alexander, he's mandatory. 1 Chaos Archfiend, Chaos King Archfiend, and 1 Dark Highlander. The only time you're ever going to synchro summon is with the effect of Night Howling. So, seeing as how these two, along with Alexander, are the best Fiend type synchro monsters, because the turn you use Night Howling's effect, you can only special summon Fiend type monsters. I feel like that these really are the only 3 synchros you need. You're never going to go into like a level 4, and I don't even know if there is a level 4 Fiend type synchro. And to my knowledge, there's no level 11 Fiend type synchro. Also, 3 and Temujin, the Raging Infernal King. Okay, so that's the deck profile, and now if that's all you wanted, you can just click out the video, like, whatever. But now, for those who are newer to the deck, I'm going to go over some of their effects and try and explain how the combos and stuff works, because this is a really complicated deck to play, and it's really, really combo oriented. If you don't know how to play this and you haven't practiced with it, you can easily lose. It's not a deck that you can just pick up and play. You really have to like study the cards and practice with this deck, because there are so many things you can do, and it's like, how should I put it? It's like trying to play Infernity. You really have to get to know the combos to play it well. Is the thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in order. Basically, Galilei and Kepler are your 2 main pendulums. You may put Leonidas in your pendulum zone occasionally. Sometimes Armageddon, not often. I've done it a few times so I can get over an annoying monster. But for the most part, you only want to put Galilei and Kepler because they offer you skills 2 through 9, and basically they have effects that fluctuate their pendulum skills. Galilei will slowly become a level 10 by increasing his skills by 2 for each turn, standby phase, and Kepler will decrease his skills by 2 for each standby phase. So you do have to watch that and plan ahead, because for 1 turn, whenever I believe he gets to 5 and he gets to 6, you can't pendulum summon at all. I believe that's when it hits. And then you have to wait a little bit more before you get to the 10 and 1 scale again. Usually by then you win. It doesn't happen that often. They both have really great monster effects. Galley allowing you to discard them to target one DDD or DD or DDD monster or a Covenant card on the field and return it to your hand. That lets you dodge the damage from Covenants if you don't have Leonidas, and it lets you reuse effects like of Lilith, or you can use them to reset pendulum skills. Kepler, whenever he's normal or special summoned, you can add any Covenant card from your deck to your hand. That's why 1-for-1 is in here. I hate having to normal summon Kepler to get my combos going, but it does happen, and you will have to deal with it. Infernal Armageddon. This guy is just a level 8 3,000 attacker. His pendulum scale is although it's good for this deck. I mean, not very many of your monsters are level 4 except for Lilith and Cerberus. And the main thing is that he is a really, really good beater. His main thing is that whenever another monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one of those monsters, and he basically gains the attack of that monster until the end phase. But he cannot attack directly that turn. That's the main way you get over Apocryphoth killer. If you happen to be doing against Qliphofs, otherwise you just basically have to put him and like Cerberus in the pendulum zones and keep pumping up attack with their effects. Armageddon also has another great effect. He cannot be destroyed by any spell or trap card that does not target him. So Dark Hole and Mirror Force, he just ignores them. Leonidas, you need to play 3 of them, and honestly, if you already have your combo pieces in your hand, just search for Leonidas with Infernal Gate, okay? You need to get Leonidas to your hand as soon as possible, because he prevents you from taking all that damage. His pendulum effect is, if you take effect damage while he's in the pendulum zone, you can destroy him, and then you gain life points equal to the, okay, so you don't gain the life points. Basically, for the remainder of the turn, anytime you could take damage from an effect, you gain life points instead. So if you have multiple Covenants out, that's useful. If your opponent's playing a burn deck, you just basically trolled them. His monster effect is basically the same thing, but a little bit more useful. I tend to use his monster effect more than his pendulum effect, because in the pendulum zone, he's more likely to get MST'd, and he's often one of the more often targets in the pendulum zone for your opponent to MST. His monster effect is basically kind of like Gore's. If you take effect damage, you can special summon him from your hand, then you gain life points equal to the damage you took. Also, while he's on the field, you take no effect damage. So, once again, trolling, burn, and also your own deck, kind of. DD Cerberus, you will never use him as a pendulum scale. Basically, for his monster effect, I've only ever used it once. If you pendulum summon him from your hand, that's the main reason why I never use it. Because he's got to be from hand. And you control another DD monster except for himself. You can target one continuous spell card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So you can just grab back your Infernal Gate or your Swamp King. I've hardly ever gotten to use it. DD Lilith, one of the main combo cards in the deck. It keeps the thing going. Whenever it's normal or special summoned, you can target a DD monster in your graveyard or one in your pendulum zone. In your DD pendulum monster in your extra deck, and add them to your hand. One or the other. You can't add both. That would be a bit stupid. DD Night Howling. He's your main. Actually, your only tuner monster, unless you play something else, which I don't know why you would. Basically, Night Howling, whenever he's a normal summon, you can target one DD monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Its attack and defense becomes 0, and if you do special summon it, you take 1,000 damage if it's destroyed. If you activated his effect, for the remainder of the turn, you cannot special summon any monsters except for Fiend-type monsters. And that's why I mainly play Fiend-type Synchros. I already went over Kepler. I think these 3 are obvious, so is MST. Infernal Gate, basically, like all the other Covenants, you take 1,000 damage during your standby phase, and during each of your turns, you can add one DD monster, that's double D or triple D, from your deck to your hand. The one thing is that you can only do it once per turn, so if you have multiple Infernal Gates in your hand, don't bother activating them. You can only activate one actual effect. You can activate multiple, but you can only actually use the search effect once per turn. I play 2 Covenant with the Swamp King. You have so many ways to search it, and you have so many ways to add it back from your grave to your hand. I see no reason to play 3 for deck space reasons. Basically what it does is it lets you fusion summon a Fiend-type fusion monster from your extra deck without using polymerization. So, and if you happen to be going for a DDD monster, you can use monsters in your graveyard as well. Mirror Force, I think I stated earlier that it's up to you. I ended up having 2 extra deck spaces. You can play Mirror Force, you can play Deep Prison, you can play Torrential and Compulse, you can play whatever you want. 2 Supply Squad. I actually kind of recommend that over to Mirror Force. It comes down to your own personal opinion. I really do not recommend playing DD Recruit. I thought it was good whenever I first read it, but you will never use Recruit's effect. So don't even bother. 2 Least Laundering. I'm debating 2 or 3 of this. I think 2 is fine for now until they get more Covenants. Basically what it does is it destroys all Covenant cards in your spell and trap card zone. And then you draw 1 card for each, and then you gain 1,000 life points. So if you really want to maximize it, you can activate 4 Covenants. It can be multiples of 1. And you can just draw 4 cards and gain 4,000 life points. It's kind of stupid. Next up is DDD Resource Management. Shuffle 3 DDD double D monsters, and it also does include triple D monsters from your hand, graveyard, or cards in your Pendulum Zone into your deck, and then add 2 DD monsters from your deck to your hand. It's kind of like their own little mini pot of avarice. I mainly use it whenever I have multiples in the grave that I need to get back, or ones that I'm not really needing in my hand, like if I happen to draw multiple Infernal Archfiend. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm tired. I had my first day of school today. Senior year, actually. In any case, so if you happen to draw multiples of these guys that you don't need, like you have multiple Galilei or multiple Kepler, and you don't need multiple at the moment, just shuffle them back to the deck, add 2 that you do need. Heck, it could even be the same ones that you shuffled in, if you want to do that. Next up is Covenant with the Dark Witch. Basically, during either player's turn, you can send 1 DD or Covenant card from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 card on the field and destroy it. You can only use that effect once per turn. The other part of its effect is all Fiend-type monsters you control gain 1,000 attack during your opponent's turn only. And like all Covenant cards, you take 1,000 damage during your standby phase. Same thing with Swamp King. I don't know if I mentioned that. Extra deck, I think Ragnar Zero is kind of obvious. Caesar, he is your main Exceed that you're going to go into. You'll almost never go into any of the other Exceeds unless you absolutely have to. Caesar, basically what he does is once per turn, you can, during either player's turn, detach an Exceed material, and at the end of the battle phase of that turn, if any of your monsters were destroyed, you special summon them back, and then during your next standby phase, you take 1,000 for each. It's kind of like a walking soul charge. Also, his secondary effect that I'm going to assume, scroll down on, dang it. Basically, if he's destroyed, you can add a Covenant card from your deck to your hand. So he searches out another Covenant, which is really useful. Carnagorn, just more for, people still play Deep Prison. I can't really think of any other targeting cards that people still play. Quillen, maybe? Master Key, everything is dark. Dark Rebellion Exceed Dragon, as I said, it's either him or 101, it's up to you. Triple Alexander. Alexander and Temujin really pretty much do kind of the same thing. Whenever you have one or the other on the field and another DD monster special summon, for Temujin you can target any DD monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and for Alexander it's any level 4 or lower DD monster in your graveyard and special summon it. They go hand in hand and work really well with each other. Basically, if you summon one and then you summon the other, you can instantly have access to a rank 4, or you can just summon an Infernal King, Infernal Armageddon from your graveyard. Temujin also has the added effect that if he's destroyed by battle or by a card effect in any way, You can target one Covenant card in your graveyard, add it to your hand, so he kind of pays for itself later on. As I said with Night Howling, you can only special summon Fiend-type monsters the turn you use as effect. So since the number of Fiend-type Synchro monsters are kind of limited, I decided to go with the two best ones in my opinion. Chaos King Archfiend, whenever he declares an attack, you can switch the attack and defense of all face-up monsters your opponent controls until the end of the battle phase. Really useful, draws your opponent if they have a bunch of strong high attack, low defense monsters on the field. And then, Dark Highlander. One of my favorite Synchro monsters that I never get to use. Basically, his effect, first line attacks, main reason why I play him, neither player can Synchro Summon. It's really mean if you do that against Yang Zing or something that, or like Blackwing, someone that plays a lot of Synchros. His other effect, you'll never use unless you're doing against like Phylons or Noble Knights or Morphotronics, something that plays equipped cards, because his other effect is basically you select one monster that your opponent controls that is equipped with an equipped card. You destroy all equipped cards equipped to that monster, and your opponent takes 400 damage for each. Kind of mean. I haven't gotten the chance to use it because I haven't dueled against any Noble Knight players, or Morphotronic, or Phylon, but hey, whatever. Anyways, guys, that is the deck profile. This is my current build. I'm always looking for ways to improve it. If you guys got any recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. If you leave your thoughts on it, rate, comment, subscribe. Have a good day, and crap, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyways, yeah, see you guys later.